Good afternoon, everyone. Firstly, I would like to thank NIDA University for holding the conference. Let's get started. Today, I'll be presenting my paper, which named Globalization and Income Inequality, a panel data econometric approach. Let's move on to the research question. How does globalization affect income inequality within and between 133 countries across in 31 years? Let's move on to the hypotheses section. There are two hypotheses which are skill-based. The first one is skill-based technological change. The theorem describes a phenomenon that is driven by globalization and the technological advancements exacerbates income inequality by demanding the skilled labor over unskilled labor. That's a greater wage disparity happened. The second theorem is Stobler-Samuelson theorem. It's driven by the actual model of international trade, suggests that trade openness affects income inequality by benefiting the owner of abundant factor of production in a country, thus impacting income inequality between countries. For the framework of the study, there are two independent variables, which are trade openness and FDI. Gini coefficients is a dependent variables. We also consider interaction of FDI and the trade openness. The research. Let's move on to the objective and the goal of this study. Firstly, we want to test the impact of globalization on income inequality and check the hypotheses to find the relationship between them. Moreover, we give policy implications to support globalization, to stimulate economic growth and help end poverty, and support some 17 SDG goals. For the research motivation, the topic is relevant to contemporary challenges. As we know, globalization is a powerful instrument that align with several 17 SDG goals, like SDG goals 1, no poverty, SDG goal 10, reduce inequalities. Secondly, the research can generate evidence-based recommendations for policymakers and give different valuable insights for policymakers when they are making policies. Thirdly, the study aims to fill the knowledge gaps by providing comprehensive and up-to-date analysis across 133 countries. Here comes the background information of this study. The development of globalization is categorized into three periods. The first period is between 1870 to 1940, which is considered as the true golden age of globalization. The world is truly on the move. Due to the large amount of immigration, the phenomenon can decrease the wages for unskilled laborers, and vice versa. That's income inequality happened. During the second wage stage of globalization, 44 countries met in Bretton Woods, and a stable international monetary system was built. To spur economic growth. provide more job opportunities, and reduce income inequality, and so on. Let's move on to the data section. Most our data is drawn from the World Bank, including Gini coefficients, FDI inflows, GDP in GDP, trade openness in GDP, employment and population ratio at age 15 above, population density. F for Human Development Index is from our World in data. The Global Peace Index is from the Institute of Economics and Peace public release data. For the data clearing service, we use two methods to deal with it. The method one is to take average to fill back in the missing data. The second method is a statistical imputation method, which specifically called forwards and backwards approach to fill back in the missing data. Ultimately, 57 countries were excluded from study because of unavailable missing data. Let's move on to the summary statistics section. The above two hot maps shows the change of Gini coefficients of 133 countries in 1990 and 2020, respectively. I found that Gini coefficients has slightly decreased over time, especially in Africa and South America region. As you can see in African region, the Gini coefficients of Namibia changed from 63.2 to 51.2.1. In South Africa, it changed from 62.2 to 44.9. In South America, the Gini coefficients of Brazil changed from 62.2 to 52.9. The above scatter plot shows a negative relationship between GDP per capita and income inequality in 133 countries. The above scatter plot shows the above scatter plot also illustrates the negative relationship between FDI and income inequality in 133 countries over 3 decades. Before I ran all the regressions, I did check the stationarity of all the variables. I found that the variables of trade openness is non-stationary, so that I took the first order of difference in order to capture the changes. After that, I plot the scatter plot as before. I found that a positive relationship between trade openness after taking the first order differencing and income inequality. Moving to the methodology section, this test is a panel data regression based. For the indexes, I means individual entity. The T means time. Outcome variables is Gini coefficients. For the variables, alpha is intercept, FDI is foreign direct investment inflows, MUIT is return, trade openness is TIT is trade openness. The selection of country variables is comprehensive, which covering from economic, social, demographic, political dimensions. Which are GDP per capita, Human Development Index, population density, employment and population ratio at age 15 above, Worldwide Governance Index, and Global Peace Index. The bottom of this pretty slide shows the total model of these tests. For the assumption violations, some of our data sets face endogeneity issues, so we use the Hausman test fixed effect model to solve the issue. Some of our data sets also encounter autocorrelation, so we use non-US standard error test to detect the residual. After that, we use a manual approach with that to detect the residual. After that, we use non-US standard error to adjust the autocorrelation up to 1. We found that some data we also face heteroscedasticity. We use non-US standard error to be robuster to generate more accurate inference. For the above shows the total 7 model of this study. The first model is base model, and I will replace the 6 country variables one by one for the rest of models. For the scope of the research, in total we have 133 countries worldwide in this study. In Asia, we have 32 countries. The rest of country groups shows in the table. We concerned about the within country and cross-country analysis. We also classified all the countries by its development level. The research period is from 1990 to 2020. For the empirical evidence, I found that the yellow highlighted number is 0.00795, which is statistically significant, meaning that the rise in foreign direct investment inflows is correlated with the rise in an increase in income inequality in Asia. The orange highlighted number is 0.333, which is statistically significant, meaning that the rise in foreign direct investment is correlated with the increase in income inequality in South America. This kind of relationship holds true for model 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, except for the base model 1 and model 5 when we set up the control variable, which is when we control the employment on population ratio age 15 above. Right now, I will just quickly go over my regression results. So as you can see, this relationship holds true for model 3, 4, 6, and 7. For the cross-country analysis, I found that the rise in foreign direct investment is correlated with decrease. The rise in foreign direct investment is related with the increase in the rise in FDI is related to the increase in income inequality in worldwide sample countries, Asia, North America, South America, Europe, Oceania, but not in Africa. This kind of relationship holds true. This types of relationship holds true for model 2 and 3. For the classification, I found that in developing countries, there is a negative relationship between FDI and income inequality. in worldwide country groups in Asia. However, there's a positive relationship between FDI and income inequality in South America. In developed countries, I found that there is a positive relationship between FDI and income inequality in worldwide countries, sample countries group in Asia. But there is a negative relationship between FDI and income inequality in Asia. As you can tell, there is an exact opposite relationship between developing and developed countries. This kind of relationship holds true for Model 1, Model 4, and Model 5. Here comes to a contribution of the study. The study provides further empirical evidence for further investigation into the relationship between FDI and income inequality. Secondly, the study is first to analyze the impact of globalization on income inequality, spanning 6 continents, spanning 3 decades and 6 continents. Thirdly, the study tries to identify the effect of trade openness and foreign direct investment influence on income inequality separately. Last but not least, we combine the 6 dimensions of worldwide governance index into a single WGI index. In conclusion, firstly, throughout the test, we found that foreign direct investments contributes more on income inequality than trade openness. Secondly, we argue that governments should strategically engage and reevaluate policy frameworks and institutional mechanisms in order to reduce income inequality properly when formulating policies. To actively, efficiently address income inequality when formulating policies. Thirdly, governments in Asian and South American countries should not put too much attention and emphasis on foreign direct investments related policies. In contrast, African countries should really develop some FDI related policies to boost FDI, as higher FDI, the lower income inequality. Last but not least, developing countries in Asia should should implement policies to encourage the growth of FDI, while developed countries in South America should similarly foster FDI in order to reduce income inequality.